Right, I'm going to make a little video here and I'm going to talk about bowl golf and how it relates to disc golf, and maybe give you all some history about my past in um, ball golf. I've been kind of a ball golf coaching nut since the 1980s. I worked in a golf store and I bought all the books. This was one of my favorite. This is the Square to Square Golf Swing by Dick Altman, and he's also working with Jim Flick. This is 1967, I do believe. Let's see. Anyway, what I wanted to show, I'm just getting what I wanted to show is the concept of the thing that I've been talking about. I just posted it on the group not too long, actually a few hours ago. And it is the concept that at some point the shoulders have to remain closed while the forward stride is actually happening. So what that is this diagram right here. This is what he's talking about right here. So first of all, you can see that this is the one leg pivot. So as Mike Austin called it, his foot through his leg, through his spine, up to his head is a straight line. Okay, from that point, everything is on this side of his body. All of his weight, literally like 90% of his weight right now, and that's not even that big of a shift, is on this foot and wound up into this lateral flexed hip. And the point being, this is the transition move at the top, which says you essentially leave your arms in place, leave your chest in place, and make the stride, which gives you this effect. You're flexing the rubber bands, okay, and you end up with something that looks like this. This is actually basically leaving the arms and shoulders closed while striding toward the target. Of course, in a golf swing, there's no stride. We actually have a stride. But you can see the chest is closed right here, like 90 degrees. And he's actually already started down. And here it's open. They're still closed, say 45 degrees, and his hips are already slightly open, striding in that direction. And you can see the point that Altman is making is that he's actually pulling this shoulder with this hip by this pivot move. So it swings, the bottom of the body swings like a bell. And when it does, it's not rotational, it's a stride. But what happens is there's a stride portion. I don't know if he has a picture of it. And an unloading portion. So that's where the hip unloads in rotation, the trailing hip. So the lead leg is stepping toward the target, and the trailing side is flying around, being snapped by this rubber band. So it's the same principle in disc golf, and he's saying here, this is what most people do in disc golf. You have the shoulders here and the hips here, and you basically, the bottom of the pelvis, the crotch, is basically going with the chin, going with the shoulders, and it's all one piece. That's what most people do. And it's exactly the same in every sport. And there's a lot more to it, but here's the follow-up book to Square, which is actually Square to Square using actual golfers to demonstrate. So let me flip through this, and Tom Weiskopf. And Tom Weiskopf had amazing golf swing. This is almost fallen down the memory hole. What would be called the reverse C golf swing, which in my opinion is far superior golf swing. You can see Justin Thomas, for example, is a reverse C lower body swinger. Okay, so for example, here is who is this? This is Cramden, I think. So he's setting the club up, and he's actually already started back toward the ball. Now, people say like this is retaining this angle, but actually, what's actually happening is the bottom half of his body is swinging from like this to here, here to here, like this. That's what that is. And that takes his arms down with him. And to do that, you're basically at the top of the swing. Your arms and shoulders remain passive for a moment. Trying to... My favorite is this man right here. This is the man. Never been. This is the GOAT, as they say. No one's even close. So, you can see Jack. He is turning his shoulder downward, and his hip is protruding sideways, and then his shoulders go upward, and then he is 100% on this leg. And again, if you draw this line from his head down through his leg to his foot, it's a straight line. So from there, all he does is take his stride. This is very similar. You see in the modern batters, they actually lift their leg exactly the same way. So he's going to leave his shoulders there and let his arms remain passive, so they'll drop down passively for a split second. See, there he's finishing. He's actually starting to finish, and he's already going that way. This part of his lower body is going that way now. See the difference? This is a nice balanced position, just standing on one leg. A lot of people aren't comfortable standing on one leg in their golf swings anymore, and I tell people in disc golf, you need to learn how to be comfortable throwing from foot to foot, from leg to leg, and not be on both legs at once. We have a lot of people who swing flat-footed now, and they're tearing their backs to shred. So anyway, so he's actually going, this is the Paige Pierce. He's actually tipping backwards, letting himself fall back a little bit while his lower body throws forward. So he's doing the counter rotation. This part of his body right here is still going this way, and this part is going this way. Oh, black and whites. Okay, and there's the moment of truth. What's really funny is Jack will tell you he's already trying to throw the living crap out of this club head at the ball. It's just he's got so much, there's so much stretch. He's leading so much with his lower body in this stride. He's so far ahead of it that there's no way the club head could catch up no matter how hard he tries to cast it. It's what people would call casting it. Like, he's trying to do this. And yes, Jack Nicklaus said that. He said, I try to throw that thing as hard as I possibly can. That's what Mike Austin said. Okay, so now, here's where you'll see, now you can see the trailing hip rotation. So the front hip strode toward the target, but the back hip is rotating, what we have been calling the knee drop. So here's his knee drop as his lower body is pivoting like this move. It's going like this underneath his head, doing this. And there's There's his knee drop. This side is rotating inward. And you'll notice he's not trying to get this front hip out of the way. In fact, when he overdid that, that was his big flaw in his swing, I believe. And you can see this is a full rotation of the backside. And you can see how far he swung the bell. We'll go all the way back. Let's go all the way back. This is how all golfers swung the golf club before they were ruined by the twist pullers. So again, you see his lower body is swung over here. Now it's swinging back, and his head's staying in the same place, and now his lower body's over here. And now he's actually still over. Which leg is he over, folks? Did he throw his head over here? No, his head is over his back foot. This is disc golf relevant. You see this in all the great players. They end up staying back, and they actually end up slightly vertically tilted. This is going to be a next video. But I just wanted to show that to you. I love these old books. There's Lee Trevino in his prime. You can see Byron Nelson. So Byron Nelson, hip swings over here, swings over to there, lower body swinging under a fixed head. But I've been studying the golf swing since, well, my first year of college. And when I worked for International Golf, I read every book they had. And here is Jim Flick demonstrating the move. So you can see, so his hips are set here, his head's set here, he's set behind, he's slightly tilted backwards. Again, look at this line from this foot to the head, and then he swings it back and swings the lower body into line. Now we're in a line, head's in the same place, didn't move, heads stay in the same place, and then the head stays in one place and the lower body swings. And this is the part where he's actually practicing flinging his arms backwards around him, and he's moving this lead knee into this position. And you can see, I mean, his hips are already back to square, and he's still closed 70 degrees to the line. And then you can see the massive lower body pelvic swing. So it went from there to there to there to there to there to there. And I actually believe that this swing was far superior to the swings you see now. Of course, I'm sure there's lots of people who would disagree with that, but I think it's a heck of a lot easier on your back, that's for darn sure. Alright, kids, I just thought you might enjoy this. Catch you later.